In this session, we're going to touch on scanning with intent within the Android. The agenda for the session are why integrate scanning into your application, why use intent not API, integrate the scanning intent to your app. Honeywell provide three ways of getting scan data into your application. The simplest way is to a scan wedge, which is built in within the Honeywell Mobility computer. So scan you treat as a keyboard entry into your application. Next, you can also integrate data collection intent with the Intent API. This does not require a SDK, but basically calling an Android intent. Last and not least, Honeywell provide the Mobility SDK, which allow you to have a full control of the scan engine and including formatting of the scan data extra. All right. So why integrate scanning to your application? There are many application require or mandate that scan the data into their application instead of manually enter them. This is to prevent abuse and also to ensure accuracy and fast capturing of the scan data. You can also use scan engine to count item by scanning the same item. So this is a very common application as well. Of course, there are always a requirement to pass or format the scan data before feeding them to your application. This is where you want to control the data scanning in before feeding them to your app. There are also validation required before you get the data into your application. So this way you also want to integrate scanning functionality into your app. Um, there are also some barcode they are encrypted, and in order for you to decrypt them before feed into your application, during the scanning, you will decipher the data before you feed them into your application. Of course, there are many other use case depending on your operation or customer operation. So this is where you can ensure you get the data properly validated, identified, changed format before you get them into your application. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is to start the Android Studio. All right, so let's start the new Android Studio project. Select the basic activity. Next, here we'll call the application name scan intent. All right, we'll save it as the default location here. All right, next is to click finish for Android to Studio to generate the basic project framework for you. This will take a few minutes for you to generate the basic framework. Okay, this is how the default framework or project generated by Android Studio look like. You only have one field, which is Hello World here. So what we're going to do is we move the Hello World text view here and change the text to scan intent demo. We add two text input layout here. One of them is the text input edit text. We change the ID to text input scan parts, change the hints to scan parts. Next one is the enter description for the text input edit text. The ID is text input description. All right, that's all you need to do on the layout. The next thing you need to do is to add permission to use the scan decoder for Honeywell. So basically, this is what you need to do, right? You use permission Android name and the string for the permission, right? These are case sensitive, so make sure that here is a capital edit for the decode.
Okay, next we go into your main activity.java. What you need to do is to add a few definition. As you can see here, we're going to add all these definition of the string that we're going to use when you call the intent. The first one, we add a tag to capture the log. If we need to do debugging, this will easily filter out the log using the intent API sample. And then we add on the action barcode data as defined with all this string here. By the way, all these definition you can copy from the Honeywell Android Data Collection Intent API documentation. Where can you find this documentation? Basically, you download, get it from the SDK. So you remember, you go to our download site under the software of a developer library, SDK for Android. In here, you download the Mobility SDK for Android, okay, version 1, ended with 128, and you should always get the latest from the download site here. After you download, you unzip it, and you will be able to find inside here document this data collection intent API. So this is exactly the document I'm talking about, right? This document describes how to use this whole intent with the sample code right below here. So whatever you see in the Android Studio here are the code that I copy from that document. I basically remove some of the comments and add some comment inside here. All right, so this is some of the constant that you need to define, which you're going to use. Like for example, this one to set a scanner to a scan internal or external ring scanner. Okay, and this one is to set profile. For example, the default is default profile. You can define your own profile in the Honeywell setting, and here is to change the property of that scan property profile. All right, remember we added two text input editing field inside there. So basically we need to add these two of them here for the definition. Again, since they are red, you need to import the class, press alternate enter, and import the class for this text input edit variable. Okay, the next thing we need to define is a broadcast receiver. So this is a broadcast receiver that we're going to define here. Again, these are red. Okay, let's import the classes here. All right, so inside this receiver or in the on receive method, what we need to do first of all is to use the action barcode data string to check against the whatever intent action that we have received, right? If this is equal to the action barcode data, uh, inside here basically we first of all we check whether the scanner is coming back with the right version. If yes, we can extract the data for here. Basically we just extract the scan data out with the with the data name, and then here we'll set the data onto the field into the text input scan data field here. As this function is not defined yet, so that's why it appear red. So let's leave it for the timing. If you want to extract out the MID, you can use the MID here, or the character set that have been decoded by the scanner. You can use the char set or the symbology ID. This is what you can use, and you can also get the entire data byte of the including all the ID and data together with these data bytes constant. All right, let's move into the on create. In the on create, basically you need to we take reference with the layout for these two variables, the scan data and the input description. So this is what you need to do. Use the find ID method. to take reference to whatever we earlier on defined in the layout, if you still can recall, like this one. All right, that's all you need to do on the on create. Okay, moving on to we need to add other function. So like the SDK, we want to do a on resume function here. So what do we really do here is that when we on resume, we register the receiver, right? So this is what you need to do. Right, let's import a class, and when you register the receiver, you want to claim the scanner, right? And this function is not defined yet, and it's actually over here. So this is what you need to do when you claim the scanner. So you create a bundle, set the property of the intent that you want to do, and inside here, you can also define what you want to all the different scanner setting that you want to add on, using all these various constant that already defined. And where can you find this constant setting is inside the SDK again. So if you open the SDK uh, under the document API, this document called constant value.html. When you open up, okay, this is the file that you need to look at. So these are all the various constant that you can use inside the document here. All right. So these are the value they use to substitute into here, right? So for example, if you want to enable a code tree line, if you go back to here, you search for this. Okay, this is the one to enable code tree line, and back to your code, and you set it to true, you enable the code tree line inside there. All right, and once you define all the property, you then need to broadcast your intent to the services, as what you can see here. Set the package to the data collection services, and make sure that you select the internal scan engine and also the profile. By by default, this is default, but you can change to whatever you want to set over here. All right. We'll look at this a bit more later on. All right. The next thing you need to do is that when your activity go into pause or switch over to another application, you want to enable your on pause method. So on pause method, the first thing you need to do is unregister the receiver. Next is to release the scanner, right? So how to release the scanner? So below here, to release the scanner, you just need to send the intent of release, and likewise to the data collection services, right? So basically, this is what you need to do. All right, to update the scan data to the text input scan data variable or the widget itself. So here is the sextech method, and you need to run a background UI thread to update the data in order to ensure that the UI does not crash because of the update. Next, we're going to run and compile the app and run it onto the device itself. So if you look at the device here, currently I have a Honeywell CT40. If you did not see this device, you have not set up your device for the development and debugging. So what you need to do is to go into the setting and go to about phone right at the bottom. Um, and in the build number here, you need to tap 7 times. As you can see here, I'm already a developer, so it's okay. If you are not a developer, tap this 7 times, and the developer option will be appear in the setting, advanced setting, developer option. Inside the developer option, turn in the developer option on, which is what you have done, and scroll to USB debugging and switch this USB debugging to on. Once you switch this thing on, plug out the USB connection with your PC and re-plug in again.
the Android will prompt you to authenticate with the PC, check OK with the address given, and this Android device model will be appear here. Okay, so let's run the application on the device itself. So I just click on this button and it will run on the device. All right, so now the application run, as you can see here, scan intent demo. We have a few called scan parts over here. And if you click on it, here obviously I can key in some data, but and if I go to the next field, likewise I can key data, right? And you'll notice that now I stay at this field and I pull out some barcode to scan. Let me scan the first barcode here. You can see that I'm scanning a 1, 2, 3, and then I scan the next EM barcode. So how does it work? So if you remember, let's go back to the code here. Inside the claim scanner, we take in a setting, a profile called my intent, and up and with that we actually set the code 39 to enable to true, and en enable to true as well, and the maximum length for the bar code 39 to 5. All right, so let's look at the setting inside the my intent. Let's go to your setting, Honeywell setting, scanner, internal scanner. You can see that I actually have a my intent profile defined here. If you look at the symbology setting, I have disabled all the barcode inside here, including the EN13 here, and also the code 39 up here. So, but I still can scan the barcode because when I read in this profile, I actually re-enable them. So that's how you change any profile that you define inside here with your application, right? And that's so since we say that we can scan a maximum length of 5 for the code 39, let's go back to here, and this barcode code 39 is actually 5 character, and if I now increase it to 6. Now let's try scan the barcode again. So you can see that I can't scan the code 39. I can only scan the EN13. Okay. So basically that's how you change the barcode scanning property of the profile after you read them in, and also change or format, pass your data within the code itself over here. That's all we need to touch on in terms of API intent scanning with the Honeywell devices. And if you have any question, you can always go to support.honeywellAIDC.com and search for scan intent. There will be article available to show you how some of these things being used and works. And likewise, the best is to look at the document API that come with the SDK. Here will provide you a lot of details of how to use this API if you have further question as well. All right. Hope this session help you to integrate scanning into the your application easily. Thanks for listening in.